Hey there, super friends. This is Joey with Last Point Gaming. Today is Wednesday, January 31st, 2018. If you want to connect with us on social media, you can subscribe to us on YouTube. Look for our Last Point Gaming channel. You can friend up our Last Point Gaming Facebook account. You can follow us on Twitter at Last Point Gaming. You can follow me personally on Twitter at Stranger Sparrow. Or you can always reach out directly with an email to lastpointgaming@gmail.com. There was no recording yesterday. I stayed home sick, and me and the dog watched a bunch of Cupcake Wars, actually. That is an odd show, where they do, like, inhumane things to cupcakes. It's because they have, like, bizarre challenges, because they're like, well, somehow we've determined that you guys are, like, the best cupcake bakers there are, so we gotta make you do bizarre, weird shit with them, like, put shrimp in them. Anyway. So that's what I did yesterday. Going to try to make up for it with a morning cast either tomorrow or Friday. Like I thought I was going to do a morning cast today, and yeah, that wasn't happening. And I'm leaving work like 2 hours late, because yeah, it's nice to have PTO and all, but unfortunately, this was a bad time in our work cycle to get sick. Anyway, so my pairing for this Xmage League was officially posted. I got paired with one of my locals, which is nice. I'm going to be playing against Milan. I'm super excited. And provided I don't get stuck at work incredibly late tomorrow night too, we're going to fit in as many of our 3 matches as we can tomorrow night, starting somewhere around 8, just so it gives me time to put the kids to bed and everything. And then if we don't get through all 3 matches, because we need to do one for each standard, modern, and legacy, then we'll finish up whatever we missed on Saturday. So now I'm under, like, real pressure. Gotta pick some decks here. So I put out a Twitter poll this morning for both Legacy and Standard, because I know what I'm playing in Modern. I'm playing humans in Modern. I, like, have the deck in paper. That's what I'm playing. The 4 options I picked for Legacy, and this was my own doing, I guess. Further proof that I'm too sick to make decisions for myself. Were, let's see here, Elves, Burn, I know that was one of the options, Manaless Dredge, which people are all about. What was the 4th option? Was it Lands? It wasn't Lands. I don't think it was Lands. Because, like, I don't actually understand what that deck does. Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong, I don't understand what, like, any of them do. I didn't put Storm on there. What was the other one I put on there? Oh, Colorless Eldrazi, because that looks pretty easy. Not easy, but looks like something I'll at least kind of understand. And, yeah, last I checked on this poll, Manaless Dredge was leading the poll. Because it's either that my Twitter followers have a lot of faith in my abilities, or they're excited to see the train wreck that results from me trying to play this deck. I, like, watched a coverage video, or I guess it was like I don't know, like a stream, Let's Play recording, LSV playing Manaless Dredge, like, months and months ago, which is why it got listed, because I'm like, what do I know that exists in Legacy? Oh, Manaless Dredge, I've heard of that. And for Standard, the options I put up were Blue-Red Pirates, Black-Red Pirates, Black-White Vampires, and Red-Green Monsters / aggro. And last I checked on that one, the overwhelming response was black-white vampires. That I'm okay with. Manaless Dredge just may not happen. Also got some personal interaction from the great Jody Keith. He recommended, of course, lands in Legacy, and then on my standard thread also commented Bant lands. And I did not realize there was a lands-esque deck in standard. He DM'd me a screenshot of a list, and it looks a lot like Bant Approach. Which, if that's how lands work, yeah, that's way outside of my skill set. But I don't know. I might do that for the standard deck, even though it's way outside my skill set. At least in standard, I kind of understand how these cards work. And kind of understand at least enough about the meta in standard to know what to play around. I think in Legacy, I need a more has a chance of accidentally winning deck, which is why I was considering Legacy Storm. Because based on my experience with having a Storm player once show me a bunch of cards and go, I win, and I go, what? How does that work? I think if you get certain things on the stack, your opponent just concedes. But Mr. Vance actually commented on the Legacy thread. He said that Eldrazi would probably be the lowest learning curve for me, but there's a lot of hate for it. So it's one of the easier ones to shut down. His recommendation was to go with Burn, just because you can sometimes accidentally win with Burn. But it's not really a tier 1 deck. I don't know. My followers really want to see the Manaless Dredge. Apparently. Again, I'm going to go with they want to see the train wreck that results from it. From me going, yeah, no, go on the play. I won the die roll, yeah. Oh, but I needed to go on the draw so I could discard. Like, I pulled up a list, I started looking through cards. I kind of maybe understand how you're supposed to get things in the battlefield. Mostly with Icarid. Is that the name of the card? It sounds familiar. And of course, Narc Amoebas. I understand how those work. Yeah, I know I put this poll out there, but I don't know that I'm ballsy enough to play Manaless Dredge. But of course, this league is pretty much just for fun. There's no real stakes. And it's pretty casual. I don't have to end with the deck I start with. So, I don't know. I may bust out the Manaless Dredge for playing against Mulan, because that's just going to be funny, and I really don't mind losing to her. But yeah. Today I learned that my Twitter followers either think very highly of me or think very highly of train wrecks. And it's probably the second one. So, yeah, I'm pretty jazzed to actually get to start playing. I hope I'm feeling up to it. But, I don't know. I made it through, 10 hours at work today, I think. It was about 10 hours. I think I'll be fine. Boo and I actually got to sit down and play some Modern last night. Husband built her Modern Burn, Naya Burn. And, with his guidance game 1, she was able to take game 1, but I took games 2 and 3. The big thing is she is afraid to take damage. Like, she refuses to shock in her shock lands. And, so we got to work on that. I think we're going to have to do some exercises where, like, I play the humans deck and husband plays the burn deck with her. To kind of guide her through and explain, like, well, yeah, you're going to take 2 points of damage, but that means that you can cast this, this, and this. Well, you're actually going to take 3 points of damage because you're going to fetch shock. Like, the second game against her, you know, because we were just playing at the kitchen table, I kept a hand that was, let's see here, a Horizon Canopy, 2 Noble Hierarchs, an Aether Vial. So that's 4 cards. What else was in there? I don't know, like a Reflector Mage? It wasn't a good hand. Like, I would never keep a mono Horizon Canopy hand against Burn. But, you know, like, hey, you know, we're just playing at the kitchen table, and I ended up pulling that game out, which I don't think should have been possible. Now, I mean, to be fair, I did get, how did I end up playing it? I think I played out the Noble Hierarch first so I could get a mana creature on the board that, you know, wasn't painful to tap for mana. And I'm sure she had a burn spell she could have fragged with it, but actually with burn, I don't know if that would have been the appropriate answer, you know, to bolt the bird or play out her threat. I think she ended up playing out a Goblin Guide, which fortunately put a land in my hand. So I don't know. I don't actually play Modern Burn, so I'm not sure what the proper answer is there. But I feel like being that Humans has, like, no life gain whatsoever, I mean, it's got some fast starts. If you go up against a red player with a slow enough start and you have a fast enough one, you know, it's a good game. But I feel like, by and large, that should be a rough match. Oh, that was something exciting. So Ross Merriam won the SCG Modern Classic in Philadelphia last weekend with Vile Humans. And guess what he had in it? Yeah, Thraben Inspectors. I've been saying for like months, I was like, I just want to fit Thraben Inspectors into this deck. I feel like it's going to be good. Everybody's like, nah, you're crazy. Well, either Ross Merriam is also crazy and still somehow won, or this was a good choice and I let people talk me out of it. Maybe I've made progress on my deck brewing skills. I don't know. Because I also, I was wedging Harsh Mentors in my Rami Red build before that was a thing. Because trying to find anything that would punish Teamer for doing its thing. And I figure, well, pretty much everything they do is an activated ability, so Harsh Mentors gotta be good, right? I originally had them in the sideboard. I didn't main deck them, which was a mistake. They were definitely a main deck card. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'm making progress there on card evaluation. Still don't get what the point of Pia Nalar in the sideboard of that deck was, though. Don't understand. Have zero clue. I don't know if I'm going to F&M this week. The kids may be having a sleepover at my parents' place. If that's the case, I'll probably skip out on F&M to have some, quality time with the husband. Also, Epidemic mentioned he may be free to hang out this weekend, so on Sunday I have an event. It's a bit of a ways away. I gotta coordinate all that, and I think I have homework I have to do for that event. Some judge thing that the captain hooked me into, and I'm already regretting this, and I haven't even gone to it yet. Mostly because I got an email from him that apparently there's homework, and yeah. I graduated college 4 years ago. I'm done with homework. That's not true. I may go back for my bachelor's at some point. I think I would stop at a master's, though. Because master of the internet sounds way better than doctor of the internet. And this is how I evaluate life choices. In any case. So there may not be an F&M report this weekend. And I gotta find out what I can share about this judge thing and what I can't. But hopefully there will be some opportunity to talk about, this stuff with the Xmage League and talk about my train wreck with Manaless Dredge if I end up playing that. Oh man, it's gonna be bad. It's gonna be so bad. I have no clue what I'm doing. I think it's gonna be slightly worse than if I tried to play Storm. I at least have watched Caleb play that a lot. I kind of understand how it works. You play Gifts Ungiven, and you go get rituals. That's what you do. So that should be neat to talk about. Hopefully. Also, I'm going to try to record these matches and post them to our YouTube channel. So if you're not subscribed to us, if you're listening to this podcast through Spreaker or SoundCloud or Pocket Casts, apparently you can get it through that app. We're also on iHeartRadio. If you're listening to us through not YouTube, you may want to, if you're interested, you may want to go subscribe to our YouTube channel, just so you get the alert and find out when I post these match videos. I'm probably going to try to break them up. So like, we have the standard match, we have the modern match, we have the legacy match, all in different videos. So if you're only interested in watching the Manaless Dredge train wreck, provided of course that's where I end up, you can just watch that video. You don't have to sit through whatever order we decide to run the matches in. Also, if you're interested in Xmage or have tried to play with it and are having a hard time with the UI, while I'm recording, I'll try to narrate weird things with the UI and things that you have to watch out for, because for open source software, which Xmage is actually, it's pretty good. It's only slightly more buggy than MTGO from what I hear. But the UI is definitely a little bit quirky. You'll have effects on the stack, but instead of saying this effect is resolving and you have to click OK, it'll just say pre-combat main phase, OK or cancel. And it looks like, what are you doing? Where are you even going? It looks like if you click OK, you're going to move out of your pre-combat main phase, which is not necessarily what's going to happen. They need a little work on their messages. Unfortunately, this thing's written in Java, and my experience with Java is insanely little. But I may still download Eclipse and see if I can tinker around with it and see if maybe I can fix that. Because, I can't get Boo to play Xmage. We tried one night, and she had such a hard time. Because she was back in her room, and I'm at the kitchen table. And, I tried to get her to bring her laptop out to the kitchen table so I could talk her through things. But, unfortunately, out of everybody in the house, I'm the only one who, has any real working knowledge of Xmage. So I couldn't even, have husband go help her. She just got incredibly frustrated with it. So, hopefully I'll have a chance to narrate through some of that stuff. So if you've been tinkering around with it and you're having a hard time understanding what's going on, I might be able to provide a little clarity if you watch through these matches. Just because, the UI for that is very quirky, and there are display settings that I recommend changing and that kind of stuff, which I may not get into all of that, or maybe if I have time before we do matches, I'll try to do a recording on that. I don't know. Fitting this stuff in is getting a little rough. Though way back when I originally talked about Xmage, I did link to a tutorial series on downloading, installing, and setting up everything. I'll try to see if I can figure out how to link to that tutorial in the video descriptions. I haven't actually directly uploaded anything to YouTube yet, so I don't really know how all that works. It's going to be a fun exercise. Because Spreaker just automatically pushes the cast to YouTube. Oh, by the way, if you're friends with us on Facebook, you must be following the cast some other way. It hasn't been posting to Facebook because, once again, Spreaker delinked the Facebook, and when I try to do it on my phone, it tries to link to my personal Facebook. And that's the last thing I want. There are already too many of the locals listening for my comfort. Like, there's a thing I kind of want to talk about, but I kind of don't, because there's so many locals listening. It's stressful and frustrating. It's one thing when strangers are listening to me ramble about shit. It's another thing to, like, have people I directly know that may in fact be like, hey, so I heard this fucking thing you said. I don't know. The thought of being accosted by online strangers is like, yeah, okay, whatever. The thought of being accosted by people directly, that's a little scarier. But I guess that's the thing with online communication, right? That's why people can be such shitbags online. Because there's no direct responsibility for the things you're saying. I mean, I still try not to be an asshole, but I don't know. I just don't know. But I'm not going to focus on that. Yeah, I know this one's like super disjointed. I'm still on cold medication. Like, I think I'm okay to drive. My focus has been okay there, but it's taking a little bit of extra effort to focus on driving, which makes just talking that much harder. And like holding a train of thought is yeah, it's not terribly easy. I still have to check out more coverage of SCG Philadelphia. I did stay up and watch the finals with Boo, and unfortunately, the team we were rooting for didn't quite make it. They made it to the finals, and they put up a damn good fight, but they just couldn't quite make it there. And that was Brennan DeCandio, Caleb, not Sheer, no last name, just Caleb. No, he has a last name, I just don't remember it. And Tan and Grace. Were they the ones playing Turbo Depths? I think so. So apparently that deck, your whole goal is to copy your Dark Depths, but with no counters on it. So you just copy it and sack it and turn it into the 2020 beater. That sounds like something I might be able to accomplish. I don't know, lands just looks too complicated for me, especially because, like, I don't really understand. I know there's some Maze of Ith involved. Mazes of Ith? I don't know. Is that land not legendary? I feel like it should be. Maybe it's not. I know there's Thespian stages. Yeah, that's about the limit of my knowledge of that deck. Though, that's slightly more than I know about, like, really any other Legacy deck, so maybe I've absorbed something about playing that deck through watching coverage of Jody Keith play it. He's a fascinating guy. I totally recommend checking out Nola Gold, I believe is his YouTube handle. Or you can search him up on Twitter, just Jody Keith. He is a fascinating guy. I thoroughly enjoy his storytime videos. I know I've talked about them before. He also either currently or at some point in his life was a cab driver. And that's one of the other series he has is the Cab Driver Confessionals. I watched one of those. That was pretty hilarious. I don't know, just listening to that guy talk is just pretty funny. He's got some great wacky stories. And yeah, he's not overly PC. His vocabulary is sailor-esque. But he also, like, he doesn't seem to be a douchebag. I mean, I've kind of learned my lesson with Jeremy. I still can't discount that guy was always nice to me. Whereas other people, when I questioned assertions they made, were not so nice to me, despite preaching that we should all be so nice to each other. Which is what caused me to follow him for so long. You know? I asked him what was going on. He said, yeah, so I did a dumb thing. And yeah, it was kind of dumb, but I think people are overreacting. I ask other people, and they're like, I don't have time to explain the world to you. And I'm like, alright, well, okay. I mean, that means I only have one side of the story, and he really doesn't look too bad. But he is getting pretty far afield, though. He is definitely making an effort to burn the community to the ground. And I can't say that this was unexpected, but I'm not gonna go on that whole jag again. I already covered, like, my thoughts on all that back when it was fresh. You can go back and listen to those if you want. But yeah, he's let's see here, Jody Keith, I would equate him to somebody kind of like Todd Anderson, in that, not an asshole, but also opinionated, very opinionated, not terribly PC, but not directly malevolent. You know, doesn't seem to attack people, even, like, when he did his story time about, you know, the match where he finally called a judge, and finally talked to a judge about things because his opponent had either willfully or accidentally misrepresented things in the game or missed things, and he was getting frustrated with it and felt that it was, you know, time to have a judge look over it, and the chat kind of tore into him for angle shooting. He didn't directly accuse his opponent of cheating or attempting to cheat. You know, he made allowances for, you know, hey, maybe he just really, you know, didn't know what he was doing. Maybe he was having trouble focusing, you know, whatever. But the end result was, I caught all this shit. What didn't I catch? So no, seems like a nice guy. Just not super fluffy. Anyway, yeah, so I totally recommend checking him out. Speaking of Todd Anderson, what the hell's up with him lately? He, like, hasn't been streaming, hasn't done more Todd's Takes. What's going on with that? I really enjoyed it. His very short-lived, I guess, series, the Todd's Takes, where he dissected old match coverage videos and kind of did new commentary over them. Because, like, you know, I've talked about this before. A lot of the members of the commentary teams, they're not... I think some of them still play. I don't know that all of them still play. I don't know what level they really play at. But, you know, there are times where you can hear them going back and forth and saying, well, I don't know why he's doing this, or, you know, oh, you must be trying to do this. And as you're watching it as a player, you're like, I don't think you're correct there. So to hear somebody who plays at the level that Todd does provide more insight, and also he has the benefit of, it's not live coverage. He can pause the video and delve deeper into a point, or there may have been time he spent researching things like, okay, I know I'm going to talk about this match, so let me look at it, let me kind of identify anywhere that, you know, there was sketchiness over, well, why was this blade made, and see if I can figure out what was going on with it. Whereas the coverage team, they're talking about things as they happen. So, you know, they've got to go with that gut reaction. Which maybe if they had had time to, like, sit and really analyze it, they would come to a different conclusion. So to have a pro player analyze these matches, I found it really interesting, even though he was really covering decks that I would probably never play. Because blue is fucking tight. I hate blue. It is my least favorite color in Magic. Sorry, this one's a little long because I have to stop and grab dinner on the way home. So I'm going out of my way a bit for that. I'll probably cut you guys off when I get to the drive-thru, because that's what we're doing tonight, because it is late. And I am tired. Oh, I'm so tired. It's not like the I haven't slept in 3 days exhausted. It's just like the I haven't slept well kind of tired. And I'm pretty sure it's just still me being sick. I am doing much better. My former minion hit me up on Monday and asked if we were doing lunch, because we usually do lunch on Mondays. And I replied, I was like, yeah, I'm sick, so I think I'm gonna take a half day, so I can't today. And he was like, oh no, do you have the flu? And I'm like, I don't know, maybe cold or flu or something like that. He was like, go home, sleep, people are dying from that shit. So I don't think I'm gonna die, which is much different than yesterday. Yesterday I was very corpse-like. I did not move any more than I had to. I probably could have taken today too, but there's just so much work piling up on me. But anyway, that's all neither here nor there. This is starting to really dissolve, so I'm just going to cut you all off here. As always, if you made it this far with me, thank you very much for listening, and I will talk to you all tomorrow.